His eyes met mine in the chaos of San Francisco Pride, and my heart knew I'd never be the same. It was June 2025, and I was 24, standing in the Castro's rainbow-soaked streets, glitter dusting my cheeks, the air buzzing with music, laughter, and freedom. I'm Luca, a barista with dreams bigger than my coffee shop shifts. Born in a small Ohio town where being gay was a whisper you buried. I'd moved to San Francisco 2 years ago, chasing a life where I could be loud, proud, me. But love? That was a dream I'd tucked away until I saw Caleb again. Pride was a whirlwind, drag queens strutting, rainbow flags waving, techno beats shaking the pavement. I was dancing with strangers, a cold drink sweating in my hand, when I spotted him through the crowd. Caleb, 25, my best friend since high school, the guy who'd stood by me when my parents shut me out for coming out at 17. He was taller now, his dark curls loose under a pride cap, his smile as warm as the California sun. He'd moved to San Francisco last month for a tech job, and we'd reconnected like no time had passed. But today his gaze hit different, sharp, searching, like he saw something new in me. "Luca," he called, weaving through the crowd, his voice cutting through the bass. I grinned, heart racing for reasons I couldn't name. "You're late," I teased, tossing him a rainbow wristband. He caught it, his fingers brushing mine, lingering a second too long. "Couldn't miss you in this chaos," he said, his eyes locking on mine, sparkling like the glitter around us. My stomach flipped. I'd always loved Caleb as a friend, I told myself. But in that moment, under Pride's electric pulse, something shifted. This wasn't just a reunion. This was a spark, and I wasn't ready for the fire it would ignite. The Pride Parade roared around us, floats blasting pop anthems, confetti raining down like colorful snow. Caleb and I danced through the streets, shoulder to shoulder, laughing as we dodged a glitter bomb. "You've changed," he said, his voice playful but curious, like he was piecing me together. I shrugged, sipping my drink. "San Francisco does that. You ditch Ohio, you find yourself." He nodded, but his eyes stayed on me, warm, intense, like he was seeing past my grin. We found a quieter spot by a food truck, the air thick with the smell of tacos and sunscreen. I told him about my life, late nights at the coffee shop, sketching in my free time, dreaming of opening my own cafe. He listened, leaning close, his knee brushing mine. "You're still you," he said, "but bolder." "I like it." My cheeks heated and I laughed it off, but his words stuck. Caleb shared his own story, coding in a tech startup, missing the small-town nights we'd spent stargazing. "I missed you," he said, softer, and my heart stuttered. The music shifted to a slow beat, and Caleb grabbed my hand, pulling me back into the crowd. "Dance with me," he said, his grin daring. I followed, our hands linked, bodies moving to the rhythm. The world blurred, rainbow flags, cheering crowds, until it was just us, his breath warm against my cheek. "You feel it too, don't you?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. I froze, my pulse racing. This wasn't just friendship. This was something bigger, scarier, and I couldn't look away. The parade faded as we slipped into a quieter Castro alley, rainbow murals glowing under string lights. My hand was still in Caleb's, but my mind was spinning. I'd loved him for years, as a friend, I'd sworn. But his touch, his gaze, was unraveling that lie. "Caleb," I said, pulling back, "what are we doing?" He stopped, his eyes searching mine. "I don't know," he admitted, "but I've felt this for a while." "Haven't you?" My throat tightened. I had, but saying it felt like stepping off a cliff. I told him about Ohio, how my parents called my coming out a phase, how they'd stopped speaking to me. "I can't risk losing you too," I said, my voice raw. Caleb's face softened, but his grip tightened. "You won't lose me," he said. "I'm here. I've always been here. But doubt not at me." His family was like mine, conservative, small town, unforgiving. If we crossed this line, what would happen when they found out? A text buzzed on my phone, my mom, out of nowhere, "Heard you're at Pride. Be careful." The words stung, a reminder of the rejection I'd carried for years. Caleb saw my face and pulled me close, his arms steady. "You're not alone," he said, his voice fierce. "Not anymore." But the fear lingered, a shadow over the spark between us. This wasn't just about us. It was about the world we'd left behind and whether it would let us love. Night fell, and Pride turned electric, neon lights, thumping music, the Castro alive with celebration. Caleb and I stood by a stage, a drag queen hyping the crowd. My heart was a mess, torn between wanting him and fearing the cost. "Luca," he said, his voice cutting through the noise, "I need to say something." Before I could stop him, he climbed onto the stage, grabbing the mic from the performer. The crowd cheered, thinking it was part of the show. "I came to Pride for my best friend," Caleb said, his voice steady but loud, echoing over the street. Luca, you've been my home since we were kids. But I'm done hiding. I love you not as a friend, but as everything. The crowd roared, rainbow flags waving, but my world stopped. He'd said it out loud to hundreds of strangers. My chest tightened, pride, fear, love crashing together. I climbed onto the stage, my hands shaking, and pulled him close. You idiot, I whispered, I love you too. The crowd erupted, but my eyes were only on him. We kissed, the world fading, neon, cheers, all of it gone. But as we stepped off the stage, my phone lit up again. Another text from my mom, saw you online. Don't come home. My heart sank, the high of Caleb's confession crashing against the weight of rejection. This wasn't just a kiss. This was a choice, and it might cost us everything. We stood in the Castro's glow, Caleb's hand in mine, the sting of my mom's text burning in my chest. She saw us, I said, showing him the message. His face hardened, but his grip didn't waver. My family's the same, he said. They'll hate this. But I don't care, Luca. I choose you. His words were a lifeline, but fear clawed at me. Could we build a life here, in San Francisco's embrace, when our pasts were pulling us back? We walked through Pride, rainbow lights painting our faces, and talked about the future. Caleb wanted to stay, to code and create in the city of freedom. I dreamed of my cafe, a place for stories like ours. We could do this, he said, his eyes bright. You and me against the world. But my mom's words echoed, don't come home. If we chose this love, would we lose our families forever? As the festival wound down, Caleb stopped under a rainbow mural, pulling me close. I'm not letting you go, he said, his voice fierce. But my phone buzzed again, a voicemail from my dad, his voice cold, we need to talk. My heart froze. Would Caleb's family push him away too? Would he fight for us, or would the weight of it all pull him back to Ohio? My name is Luca, and this is our story, a gay love that sparked in Pride's chaos. But will he choose love, or walk away forever? If this story moved you, hit like, share with someone who needs it, and subscribe for part 2. Comment below, what should Luca do next? Help us hit 1,000 subscribers. Your support keeps these stories alive. Chase your pride.